So they didn't open the bar, did they? They opened the bar? Are they even allowed to open the bar? This is why we can never do a Warnham on this level. All right, come on back in. So Jennifer, here's what I want you to do. I want you to pack all of the really important stuff right in the beginning so the laggards miss it. All right, everybody, come on in, grab your seat. So first of all, how many of you liked and really enjoyed our last presenter in our last session, right? You can laugh. Thank you. I mean, just, that was the best. No, here's what I will tell you. So what I'm really trying to give you all is, again, a framework for thinking about systemizing scale, systemizing decision-making, and what it wound up being was really, this next session is kind of part two of the last session. So if the last session was, here's how we begin to codify and institutionalize, like, just decision-making and optimization and execution, right? This is what it means for a company to grow and scale to the next level. What this next part about is, how do you then sell that vision, right? So you've done everything that I just showed you how to do. You've got the operating system in place. You have people that can execute upon it. But if you recall, we got a 3-year target, right? We got our strategic anchors. We got our core values. But then there's that broader company purpose. I said it's the fuel, right? This is the fuel that is going to get you excited. This is the fuel that is going to get your team members, your customers, your clients, on fire. This is the broader vision that what is your job after you've automated yourself out of the business to become the best salesperson for your company's vision, period, so that your company never runs out of fuel. That is literally what the next session is about. Exactly how do you do that? We did not plan this. We did not plan for Jennifer to come up here and to talk about this. No joke. I know we've gone back a number of years in the marketing world. I saw that Jennifer was Hootie. How many of y'all know Jennifer Hootie? I mean, she's still going to, yeah, of course. I was like, cool, Jennifer's here talking about copywriting. Because I knew Jennifer's a copywriter. Turns out she's recently partnered up with Cameron Herold on their Vivid Vision. She's like, no, I'm here to talk about how to really create and sell the company vision. I'm like, and you're speaking right after me? This is perfect. So I say this is perfect, and you're all wise to be in here. The people who are out by the pool drinking are freaking idiots, and they're not going to succeed because of this. I'm sad for them, I really am. No. With that said, let's bring up Jennifer Hootie, talk about how we can build a vivid vision.
Thank you. Yeah.
Nice work.
Thank you. All right. So as Ryan shared, we're going to continue on with that conversation of the 3-year target and then introduce a surprising way for you to really sell and enroll your team and those around you into your 3-year vision. This presentation I call the $100 million document. So it's 1998 in Vancouver, Canada, and Brian is the CEO of 1-800-GOT-JUNK. And his business is plateaued at about $1 million a year, 8 years in a row. And so he finds himself at a business mastermind similar to this, and he's sitting next to his buddy, Cameron Herold. And the speaker on stage is a sports psychologist who's talking about how with his Olympic athletes, they use this visualization process that's scientifically backed to get them in a state of performing their sport and also imagining themselves already winning the gold medal as if it already happened, as a way that was part of their training. And so the two of them are sitting there, the CEOs are like, this sounds a little fluffy. But Brian's like, I'm gonna give this a shot. I've invested in marketing strategists, I've invested in hiring team, and I cannot seem to break through this plateau. So he goes to his family lake house and disconnects from the day-to-day of his business, sits down, pulls out a notepad, and leans into the future and starts to ask himself the question, okay, I'm gonna imagine myself about 3 years out. What do I want my company to look like? What do I want my team to look like? What do I want my culture to look like? How much revenue do I want to have generated? And he wrote things down like, I want to grow to a $100 million business. I want to have some of the top company culture in all of Canada. I want to be featured in Oprah. I want a 1-800-GOT-JUNK logo on the side of a Starbucks cup. He's just allowing himself to think about whatever he thought would be fun. He was not allowing himself to get caught up in the how or the strategy. Making sense so far? So he imagined himself stepping into that time machine, and he took this mind map and he formulated it into a document, which was originally called a painted picture, now is well known as a vivid vision. Who here has heard of a vivid vision? Raise your hand. Yeah. Which is a document that paints a vivid picture of exactly what your company looks like 3 years into the future as if it's already happened. So very similar to the 3-year target, however, it's kind of like a sales page. It really paints the picture of it. So Brian then takes this document, gathers his entire team, and presents it. Talks about how, this is where we're headed 3 years into the future. He gets everyone to see what he sees, his vision, as they're able to see it as clearly as he can in his own mind. He brings on Cameron as his COO, and they begin to get to work at building and creating what was mapped out in the 3-year vision. Fast forward a little over 3 years, and 1-800-GOT-JUNK surpassed $100 million a year in revenue, now generating more than $500 million. They had a 2-minute segment in Oprah where she's giving them shout outs and did a whole segment on them. They were featured in the Harvard Business Review as a company to model on their culture, plus rated the #2 workplace in all of Canada for their culture. All within about 3 years. Pretty amazing, right? And so Cameron went on to actually write a book on the concept called Vivid Vision. And fast forward to about 2015, and I'm just starting my brand new business called Conscious Copy. It's a copywriting company. I'm bootstrapping this business. I'm right out of college, virtually unknown in the space. And I'm dyslexic, so I feel like starting a copywriting business is going to give me the best shot at being successful. And so I read this book, and I figure, I'm going to give this a shot too. So I sit down, I mind map out what I want the future of my company looking like. And I wrote things down like, we become the top copywriting agency in the online business and personal development space. Some of the top thought leaders in the world are reaching out to us, asking us to help them launch their big campaigns. People like Tony Robbins and Dan Sullivan of Strategic Coach, and Eben Pagan and Joe Polish and JJ Virgin and Brendon Burchard and all these people. Given I am virtually unknown in this space, I'm just starting off, but I'm like, hey, he said to just dream up what you want. I'm going to write it down. I wrote down that I wanted to generate millions of dollars in revenue, that I wanted to grow an epic team, and began to get to work at it. Was using it like Ryan talked about with that 3-year target of making decisions from it, even early on. So fast forward about 6 months, and I get a huge opportunity to write some copy for Joe Polish at Genius Network. And that really launched a big part of my copywriting career. And fast forward, in less than 3 years, pretty much all of the people that I wrote down in that vivid vision that I dreamed of working with became clients. One of our last clients was Tony Robbins, and helping him launch the Life Force book, which was a #1 New York bestseller across pretty much every list. Other people like Dave Asprey, Brennan Bouchard, Joe Polish, Eben Pagan, Cameron Herold. And I also wrote that I was speaking on some of the industry's top stages like TNC and War Room and Genius Network annual event. And all of these opportunities started to pop up. Ended up generating tens and tens of millions of dollars for our clients, millions of dollars for ourselves. And I was like, damn, this shit really works. The power of actually getting clarity of where it is that you want to go and making decisions off of that. Who would have thunk, right? So I told Cameron about the story, and he was like, that's amazing. You should start doing this for some of our clients. You know, there was a lot of his CEOs that he was working with that got the idea of the Vivid Vision. It made sense to them. But when it came to communicating their vision, because it was so second nature to them, they saw it in their own mind, it was hard for them to articulate it in the same level of clarity that they saw it. Does that make sense? And so the way that I looked at it, I just thought, well, yeah, Vivid Vision is simply a sales page for the company's future. Like a really good sales page, it needs to attract the right people, and it also needs to repel the wrong people. It needs to tell a really good story, but it also needs to have clear facts and data so that you can reverse engineer back. Is this making sense? And so I started off as doing this little side hustle, built a team, and fast forward 6 years later, and we have an entire organization that's helped over 470 companies one-on-one through the process, about 1,000 others through our trainings, workshops, and retreats. A lot of the companies you would know, everything from startups to publicly traded companies, taking them through the process of really gaining clarity and communicating that vision as a sales piece for their company so that they can align and focus their current team. That's the biggest thing, first and foremost, that their internal team can actually see where the company is headed and everyone can work towards it. Also to recruit and retain top talent. Who here is looking to find top talent right now and noticing it's a bit of a challenge, yeah? The truth about top talent is that they're not looking for a job. They probably already have a cushy job with a cushy salary, but what they are looking for is a greater compelling vision that they can grow into and take their skill set and level up. Also to delegate the role of implementing ideas so you can focus on what you're best at and be that automated CEO. Dan Sullivan has the concept, who, not how. Think about who, not how. Well, in order for the who's to do the how, they need to know what the ultimate goal is, what the vision is. Also, I highly encourage you to take your Vivid Vision and get key vendors and partners and clients on board. When you're going to your banker, when you're bringing your financials, you're also bringing your Vivid Vision so that they can see where you're headed. And the Vivid Vision is different than the business plan. This is not the plan of how you're going to get there. It's simply the what, the where, and the why. Y'all following with me? Plus, there was a study done of 183 entrepreneurs with the average revenue of $2.5 million. And the average growth of companies with a vision was more than double companies without a vision. So I'm curious, who here feels like you're clear of your 3-year company vision? Raise your hand if you feel like you're clear. Awesome, okay. Probably like 20% of the room. And then of those of you who are clear, who believes that your team is as clear of the 3-year vision as you are, that they can see it as clearly as you can in your own mind? About 5. All right. So in our time together today, I figured the most valuable thing that I can share with you is our process so that you can create your own vivid vision, and also give you a really powerful tool that you can use to get started on your plane ride home. Sound good? All right. So this is the high level of the vivid vision method. There's 5 steps, and the first step is the vivid vision mind map. This is where you want to begin to just map out what does that 3 years into the future really look like. And we're going to go deep into this today, and I'm actually going to give you a tool called the Vivid Vision Mind Map that you can start on to get clear of what it is that you really want for that 80+% of you who aren't totally clear. Step 2 is you want to expand upon the vision, refine it, make sure that there isn't one part of it that actually counteracts another part. 3 is you want to go into the copy creation. You want to write this thing like a sales page for your company's future. One of my favorite quotes by Gary Halbert, who's an OG copywriter I studied from for years, was he said, you want to get yourself in concert pitch when you're selling and record it. And then that becomes the outline for a really good sales page. And I think of the same thing when it comes to your vivid vision. When you are in concert pitch of sharing about your vision, you're passionate, you're excited. We want to take that and then use it as an outline for your vivid vision document so that it kind of provides as that heartbeat for your business. So even when you're not there to pump up the team and boost morale, they can reference the vivid vision and make decisions on it. 4 is you want to design it. Use imagery so that a picture is worth 1,000 words, as they say it. If you can define what you want aspects of your company to look like, use a photo. And then 5, how to roll it out. So as I shared, we're going to go deep on step 1 today, which is the Vivid Vision Mind Map. And I do have a tool for you that's completely free. You can just scan the QR code to download the mind map. It's going to ask you a couple questions. And inside of the mind map, it has all of the questions that you're going to want to begin to ask yourself in mind mapping out your 3-year vision. So, number 5, or the 5 keys to map out your 3-year vision. Number 1 is to get in a vision state. So your current state of mind has built your current company. And there may be parts of your business that you don't really love. Who here feels like, there's aspects of your business where you're overwhelmed or you're pissed off, you're frustrated, worried, maybe anxious? Yeah. I'll put 2 hands up. So starting to create your vision from this state of mind isn't going to be supportive. When we work with some of the entrepreneurs in helping them map out and gain clarity of their vision, when they just come and they're stressed out and they're trying to, map out, okay, I got this tool that Ryan told me I got to do the 3-year target, or I got to do the 3-year vivid vision, and they're slamming it from an hour between meetings and 30 emails deep, and they're trying to get to this process. It doesn't work very well because you're in your analytical part of your brain. You want to get into what I call the vision state, which is where you're relaxed, awake, aware, in that creative part of your brain that you can dream big without limitations. Next is you want to ask yourself the question, what do I really want? What do I really want the next 3 years to look like? I was working with a CEO a couple years ago through our Vivid Vision process, and there's a step called the Vision Expander session, and our team is interviewing the entrepreneur to help them flesh out the vision. And he kept saying these things like, well, this is what it should look like, or this is what it has to be, or we need to do this in order to stay competitive. And I said, I completely get all that. It's very important for us to make sure that there's a strategy element to this and think through those questions. But first, I'm just curious if you make all of this happen in the next 3 years, is it what you really want? And he looked at me and he's like, what I really want? I was like, yeah, because here's the thing. You are about to invest 3 years of your time, your energy, all of your bandwidth into building this company. So let's make sure that you don't write something down that you don't even want, and you get there only to realize that you built yourself a golden jail cell. You achieved it all, but you didn't even want it in the first place. So when going through the mind map, really ask yourself the question, when you write it down, do I really want this? Would this excite me? Y'all following? Awesome. Number 3 is you want to paint the picture. Like a good sales page, unlocking the 5 senses. What does it look like? What does it feel like? What does it sound like? When you're defining what your company culture looks like, in addition to those core values, what do you imagine the interaction between the team? How do they solve problems? How do they think about problems? What is the behavior? Because it's one thing for you to see the vision in your mind, but if you can't articulate it and your team doesn't see it too, it becomes another idea lost in translation. So there's 12 pillars of your business vivid vision you're going to want to dive into. The first is the snapshot, why we do what we do, that high level, that purpose statement as another way to phrase it. Your core values. What does your team and your employees look like 3 years into the future? And just like Ryan shared, we want to go 3 years, not 1 year, not 10 years. What does your culture look and feel like? What are the core business activities or products or services that you have? Are you staying the same, or does it look a little bit different? Are you expanding? What do your office and headquarters look like? Do you have the same ones? Is it different? What does your operations team look like? Your sales, your marketing, your media, your awards? What are your financials for those 3 years? What's your revenue? What's your profit? Giving forward in community involvement. How do you show up? Painting the picture as if it's already happened. And then finally, as the founder, as the CEO, how do you feel in your day-to-day? Maybe painting the picture of you truly being that automated CEO. And the power of this is if your team sees this, oftentimes we think that they're going to get freaked out, but really they get excited, they get enrolled. Wow, I didn't realize that that's part of your vision. Let's see how I can step up and help bring that to life. And I know that this can feel like a lot, but again, if you grab the mind map, I mapped out all of these 12 pillars plus question prompts for each one that you can begin to think of. Cool? Clicker. There we go. So here's an example of a vivid vision come to life. This is a company that we work with called MN Homes. They're custom home builders. And the CEO and founder, Sean, came to me. They were doing about mid-9 figures a year in revenue. They had scaled very quickly. And he shared that a lot of the people in the company didn't know what their priorities are. They were experiencing a lot of turnover. And he was really clear of what the vision for the company was, but he was noticing such a disconnect that the rest of the team wasn't clear of the priorities and where they were actually headed. And so we took those 12 areas, and my team wrote it into this sales page for the future and mapped out what those values look like, what their leadership team looks like, their culture, core business activities, in vivid detail, customized to their business. And then we took it and we turned it into this one-page document. So it's a very quick way for their team to see what the high-level areas of each business area are so that they can go and begin to reverse engineer it back. Here's another example of a publicly traded company we did one for called Kumu, where similar structure as you see a bit totally customized to their business. They came to us because they were going through a huge transition. A lot of companies will come when they've had to lay off a lot of team members, or there's shakiness in the economy, and they want to anchor the team to a greater vision for the future. Number 4 is to use present tense reflecting back on those 3 years. So in the case of today, you're going to use December 31st, 2025. and step into it as if it's already happened. And number 5, you want to think what, where, and why, not how right now. Okay, so this is one of the biggest challenges that that I see with CEOs and entrepreneurial types, is they start mapping out the strategy before they even know the vision. Who here gets caught up in the how a lot? Anytime you do some sort of strategic visioning or high-level stuff, yeah, super normal, that left part of the brain. And so you just want to think about, okay, we're going to get to that. That's a key part of this process. But first, we got to know that destination that we're plugging into the GPS. Because if you've ever gone on, to go book a flight, what do they ask? What's your destination? And when do you want to go? So we're plugging in 3 years, but it's up to you to determine what that destination is. So as I shared, the first step in this Vivid Vision process is that mind map. And again, once you mind map it out, you expand upon it, you write the copy, you design it, then you're into your rollout. How do you share it? So the first thing is you want to share it with your internal team. You want to have a company-wide all-hands meeting, sharing with them the vision, getting their buy-in. Don't be surprised, though, if there's some people who say, I don't want to go. That's actually good news. That's actually good news. And it's a benefit to them and you that they see where the company is headed and they recognize maybe they don't want to be part in bringing that to life. And you don't have someone in a seat that doesn't want to help you build the vision. Does that make sense? So that's the first one. Then you want to roll it out externally. You want to share it with your vendors, your partners, your clients, your customers. You want to put this on your website. You want to replace it with your family Christmas card this year, and you're going to send everybody a copy of your Vivid Vision. You're going to read your kids the Vivid Vision before they go to sleep at night instead of a little nighttime book, right? But you want everyone, I'm joking, but y'all are like, where's the bar? Okay, there we go. But you want to share it everywhere. And that's the biggest mistake that I'll see some entrepreneurs make, is they're not sharing their vision enough. What they don't realize is when people hear their vision, they want to be part of it. They want to help you connect the dots. They want to say, oh, I know a person who can help you bring that to life. But they got to know where you're going to begin with. So again, if you haven't gotten the copy of the Vivid Vision Mind Map, I highly recommend it. It's super valuable in just walking you through those questions. And if you're the type of person where you're like, I prefer simplicity and speed and support, or you have any questions at all on this process, you could just email me personally at jennifer@consciouscopy.co. It's .co, not .com. Just put the subject line War Room, and I'm happy to answer any questions. Also happy to personally hop on the phone, talk through your Vivid Vision, and see where you're at in the stage and if we can help you. But finally, there's one question I get a lot at the end of sharing about Vivid Vision, and that's awesome about the business Vivid Vision. Can I do it in other areas of my life? Actually, 2 questions. One, who do I do it with? So as the founder or CEO, you're doing this process on your own. The only people you're including is if you have business partners. You both go separately to do your mind maps, but then you come together in that expansion to see where y'all are aligned and where you maybe need to find alignment. And then 2 is you want to, do it yourself, not involve your team, because the Vivid Vision may be watered down as a result. And then the second question is, can I do this for other areas of my life? And the answer is yes. So this is one that we did for Cameron and his new wife and their relationship Vivid Vision, and helping them get clear of what they want the future of their new marriage to actually look like, and the key areas that matter most to them. We've done personal Vivid Visions for people. This is Larry English, who's a former NFL player. You know, he said his #1 vision as a young boy was to play in the NFL. After he played and finished out his career, he asked, what next? So especially for some of you who maybe you've sold your company or you're considering selling your company, or your personal life is a little more out of balance than your business. Highly recommend going through a process of getting clear of your personal vivid vision. And I'll leave you with this, which is when you have your vivid vision, then it becomes a filter to help you discern if an opportunity is actually aligned to the greater vision for the future, or if it's a seductive distraction. As Ryan shared, it's invaluable when you're able to make decisions, with those two paths. When you know your vision, the decision becomes simple. So that's what I got for you today. Thank you. Yeah.